Yes, people, as Hannah would say. Welcome once again to the Coach's Corner. It is day 4 of the World Cup because day 1 was Sunday, of course, and we are covering the third match of the day's play, which is Spain against Costa Rica. The teams are already out on the field and they've already stood for their anthems. And we see the captain, Sergio Busquets of Barcelona, and Keylor Navas, formerly of Real Madrid, almost like an El Clasico matchup, if you will. And they are, of course, together on the field. And I think Navas has won the toss, and I think he's decided which end he will be attacking. So, two Spanish-speaking nations, obviously there will be a lot of communication, a lot of banter. And let me just present the team news for all of you right now, courtesy, as usual, of our good friends over at BBC Sport. So this is how Spain will be lining up, a classic 4-3-3, which seems to be the common formation of the tournament. Unai Simon, of course, will be in goal, followed by Cesar Azpilicueta of Chelsea at right back, Jordi Alba at left back, Rodri for Manchester City, and Aymeric Laporte, both of Manchester City, are the central defenders. We have Javi, Paez, Gavira, and Sergio Busquets and Pedri in a three-man midfield, followed by Ferran Torres, Marco Asensio of Real Madrid, and Dani Olmo in a three-man strike force. And of course, a great deal of talent on the bench, including the likes of Koke and Alvaro Morata from Real Madrid, along with, of course, Marcos Llorente and others. Dani Carvajal also on the bench as well. And this is Costa Rica's formation. Match is about to start, but they're playing in a 5-4-1 formation with Anthony Contreras as the lone striker and Celso Borges in the midfield, along with the likes of Joel Campbell and, of course, Brian Oviedo as the left wing back, with Carlos Martinez as the right wing back. And we see some players taking a knee at the moment in a Bible stand against racism. And, of course, some good talent here on the bench. So Spain have just kicked off, and they will be attacking from right to left. And straight away, a ball deep into the Costa Rican half. And that will be a Spanish throw. Proceedings are starting already. I will check the comments, and we see that Mr. Ferreira has joined the building. Vamos, amigo. Espanol. Vamos, España. Thanks for coming on, brother. And yep, definitely, again. And certainly a sedate beginning to the proceedings right now as Spain have the ball. That was it's Rodri to Laporte, and he will find Jordi Alba on the left, who passes it to Dani Olmo, back to Jordi Alba, back to Laporte, Rodri, who can try and move forward with the ball, obviously, passes it to Cesar Azpilicueta, the Chelsea captain. Of course, many people have been saying that his legs have gone and he can't play Premiership football anymore, but here he is in the World Cup. And Gonzalez Lopez, that was, with that pass back to Rodri. It's now with Busquets. And it's sort of now gone out to the right. And we see the first corner of the game. So Brian Oviedo there doing some good work, and obviously many of us will know him, especially if we followed Premiership football. So that was, in fact, Ferran Torres there with the attempt to try and run in, but Oviedo doing some work over there. And, of course, following the shock result earlier today between Germany and Japan, this is certainly a game which both teams will want to try and win in order to see themselves progress in the group. It is Olmo with the corner, right-footed away swinger, and that is headed away by the Costa Rican defense. Jordi Alba now passes it back to the Athletic Bilbao goalkeeper Unai Simon, who, quite frankly, is a decent enough shot stopper, but another one along the line of those Spanish goalkeepers whose handling can be quite suspect. But it'll be interesting to see how well he performs. Sometimes in the World Cup, being a goalkeeper is about good shot stopping, and primarily, but we'll see how well he does. Azpilicueta now, back to Rodri, who passes it to Laporte. Straight to Azpilicueta. Sends it down to Torres, who can run with the ball. Once again down the right, but the defense clears it. And a lot of frenetic action right now in the Costa Rican half, but it's Calvo who's able to get that away. And Francisco Calvo, that is. And Costa Rica have now transitioned into a 4-4-2 formation with Brian Oviedo as left back and Carlos Martinez at right back, with Oscar Duarte and Calvo the centre backs. Now it's Ferran Torres on the left to Jordi Alba. And some good work there by the number 10, Marc Asensio, who was benched for quite a long time by Carlo Ancelotti at Real Madrid, certainly during the Champions League winning season, but has seemed to have picked up a bit of form and finds a place in the squad. And a pretty needless challenge by Laporte on Joel Campbell there. And that is the manager, Luis Enrique, who replaced the former Real Madrid manager, Julian Lopetegui. Of course, a Barcelona legend himself, earned 62 caps for Spain back in the 90s. Rodri, Azpilicueta. Back to Unai Simon, who passes it to Laporte. And it's Azpilicueta. Actually, that's Busquets now who has the ball, not Azpilicueta. Busquets, of course, playing that central defensive midfield role. Asensio, Ferran Torres, down the left. Lost it there for a bit, and it's Martinez who can, sort of get back at him. And a chance early on. And Dani Olmo over there, almost giving Spain the lead, but we're going to take a look at this chance right now. Excellent cross in. It found Olmo perfectly, met that first time on the volley, but never really had conviction in the shot. And I suppose Keylor Navas had that covered, but it went wide anyway. And you can see through that grin just how good an opportunity that was. Luis Fernando Suarez is the manager of Costa Rica. And a lot of talk about how Navas was struggling without game time at Paris Saint-Germain, with Gianluigi Donnarumma very much first choice as far as the PSG coach was concerned. But he's probably been given a separate training schedule to keep himself fit and ready and fresh. And of course, having served Costa Rica with distinction over the years and with the CV that he has, you pretty much drop him at your peril if you're a Costa Rica manager. Olmo misses out, and it is Carlos Martinez, the right back, who ends up taking the throw in. So taking a bit of time, obviously wants to find his man, and he does. And it is now with Anthony Contreras, who tried to take that away, but he was dispossessed by Gonzalez Lopez from Spain. And it is with Spain now. Rodri. Laporte. Jordi Alba. Carlos Busquets, the long-serving Spanish captain, who sends it out wide to Ferran Torres, who's back on the right and wasn't able to control that. And the left back, Brian Oviedo, can take the throw in. So once again, another cagey sort of opening. Costa Rica clearly not having much of the play here. Spain have pretty much been able to press and dominate them. Oviedo right now currently playing in MLS for Real Salt Lake. And of course, he is a Premiership veteran with 5 seasons at Everton and 2 seasons at Sunderland in the lower divisions, of course. Played in Denmark for Copenhagen and Nordsjælland. And has now sort of gone to the MLS to try to have a decent, continuation of his career without the pressures, if you will, of European football. Dani Olmo now for Spain. Jordi Alba. Laporte. Passes it straight to Azpilicueta. and receives it back from Ferran Torres. Rodri. Spain content to sort of pass the ball amongst themselves and try and look for an opening, but these Costa Ricans, if they sense an opening, they can certainly run at you. And it wasn't, of course, it was quite long ago that Enrique was a player himself, but still able to give it a good touch, but obviously his playing days are long gone. Azpilicueta finds Torres again. And that is with now Gonzalez from Spain. And a shot early on. And did Keylor Navas get a touch to that, or was that just wide? Well, once again, another terrific chance, and that was definitely not wide at all from Pedri Gonzalez. So you could see over there that it might be fair to say that Navas was stranded a little bit, but that definitely wasn't far away at all, and both Asensio and Pedri Gonzalez know how close that was. But finally, Costa Rica can breathe. A long kick from Navas, met by Campbell. Not Campbell, Contreras, rather. I have to make sure I get the shirt numbers and names right. Now, it is with Jordi Alba, and I know that the name and number is right. The long-serving number 18. Laporte, the number 24. And Rodri, the number 16. Easy enough. Back to Laporte. Back to Jordi Alba. Pedri Gonzalez. To Rodri, to Laporte. Back to Pedri, who passes it to Azpilicueta, who can try and overlap. He finds Ferran Torres on the right. And that is very well cut out for a throw. So the defense still hard at work, but with Azpilicueta and Torres combining down the right wing, there's not going to be a period of rest for Costa Rica. It is Torres to Azpilicueta, back to Torres. Beating a bit of a retreat at the moment, and that can enable Azpilicueta to sort of get back into the defense. Laporte to Alba. To Olmo, back to Alba. To Busquets, back to Laporte. Rodri. Azpilicueta. Busquets. And it was allowed to run through, and Asensio has dispossessed him, but excellent work by Fernando Calvo to get that back, only to give that away. And now it's with Dani Olmo, who had a shot early on, and that is headed away by the Costa Rican defense once again, who clearly are being given the runaround here. Ferran Torres back to Azpilicueta, Busquets, Pedri Gonzalez, Jordi Alba, Asensio, Gonzalez, Asensio, Busquets, Jordi Alba, Dani Olmo. Will the shot be taken? A pass through, it finds Olmo, and Spain are ahead through Dani Olmo, not Almo, Olmo. And that was almost perfect. Actually, it was perfect. Not almost perfect, but perfect indeed. So, we now, of course, have a situation where the pressing from Spain has paid off quite wonderfully, and now we're just going to change the ticker. But once again, some excellent work. Almost a return to the tiki-taka football, which made Spain famous. Constant passing between the midfield and the forward lines. Through the defense. Excellent control by Olmo. No chance really for Keylor Navas. They're appealing for an offside. I'm not sure they will get it. But once again, the quality of that pass from Pedri Gonzalez was just brilliant. The control from Olmo was almost perfect. And the finish was even better. And Spain are in raptures. And so clearly Luis Enrique's selection tonight has worked quite well, and the goal does indeed stand. So Dani Olmo on 11 minutes put Spain 1-0 up. But it is in the Costa Rica half. I mean the Spanish half. So at the moment, Spain are able to deal with that quite well. And they can come away now through Rodri. 79% possession tells the story for Spain. A mere 11% for Costa Rica, with 10% in contest. So clearly Spain have had the better of the exchanges and they are deservedly front. I'm not too sure what kind of strategy the Costa Rica manager will have to use, but he will have to start immediately. And you can see the speed of the Spaniards, telling right now. But Costa Rica are away and they have the ball. A pass forward finds Martinez. And Campbell couldn't quite get to that, and Laporte could possibly clear. Finds Jordi Alba, and Spain can start to clear their lines. And they end up conceding a throw-in. So certainly a very high tempo start, but Costa Rica haven't been able to settle. And now the manager is really in all sorts of quandaries at the moment. And it's a Spain throw now, so Costa Rica certainly knocked back on their feet, and this has been a good start by Sergio Busquets and the boys. Pedri Gonzalez to Azpilicueta. Can he control that? Well, Torres is there to back him up. Rodri. Busquets. Alba. Dani Olmo. And very nearly let that go, Gonzalez, but thankfully it's back with his teammates for him. And he reclaims the ball now, tries to get it through the midfield. And Javi is brought down. Will that be a booking? At the moment, it just seems to be a free kick. I think the referee will have to be very careful not to let the game go out of hand. Galvo, once again, doing his best in the center of the Costa Rican defense, but Calvo, rather. But at the moment, Spain are well in front and Costa Rica are under the cosh. Two people over this. Will it be Pedri Gonzalez or will it be Dani Olmo to take the free kick? Well, it's a somewhat short free kick. And I saw what they were trying to do. Basically, Gonzalez was trying to sort of pass it into the penalty area, but that was intercepted. And the referee blows for an infringement by Asensio, and it will be a Costa Rica free kick. So Costa Rica's number 9, Jewison Benete, running down the left and tripped up by Asensio. So it will be Joel Campbell, formerly, of course, with Arsenal, to try and whip this free kick in. And you can see the Costa Rican players realizing the scale of the task ahead of them. Who does he find in the penalty area? Well, it is into the penalty area, and Calvo's run up front. And he was able to... Actually, he wasn't quite able to, survive the offside trap. The linesman saw him not time his run at all well. Ideally, had he been a second later in his run, he would have been able to get it, but the linesman said, sorry, back you go, son. Francisco Calvo is his name, I should add. And Spain can start to attack with Azpilicueta. From the back, of course. Rodri. Laporte. Back to Rodri. Azpilicueta. To Busquets. And that is with Javi Perez, who passes it to Pedri Gonzalez. Jordi Alba. Finds Dani Olmo, the goal scorer. And nice interplay between the two, but Costa Rica cut that off and continue to run. And it is, in fact, Yeltsin Tejeda who was able to cut that off and was fouled by Jordi Alba afterwards. So Interesting name, that. Yeltsin. Never thought I'd be almost glad to hear that name. Again, trying to avoid politics as much as possible, but it is what it is. Pass back to Keylor Navas, who gets it to Duarte. Oscar Duarte, who sends it all the way up to Unai Simon, who rolls it out to Rodri. Pedri Gonzalez, Jordi Alba, Laporte, of definitely a Frenchman, but naturalized Spaniard. Rodri, Azpilicueta, Torres, and Torres ends up conceding the throw-in. So the throw-in is taken, and Costa Rica can try and move forward. It is with the right back, Martinez, who tries to find his teammate, but can't quite get it. His teammate in this case is Keisha Fuller. And it is Campbell now who has the ball. Double teamed by a couple of Spaniards, so he's going to have to try and backtrack a little bit. Obviously beating a bit of a hasty retreat. But finds his teammate, Tejeda, and Fuller. Borges, Martinez. Back to Campbell, who can whip it in with his left foot. And tries to find someone on that side, but probably not having the distance. And Ferran Torres can break. Fouled by Tejeda. No, that isn't the foul. The referee waves play on. And Spain anyway win the ball back. It is with Pedri Gonzalez, who passes it to Dani Olmo down the left. And play slow down for a bit. Asensio to Busquets to Rodri to Azpilicueta. To Busquets now. Asensio to Busquets to Pedri Gonzalez. Finds Jordi Alba on the left. Asensio. Busquets. Rodri. Azpilicueta, still working hard down the right. Ferran Torres back to Aspi. Aymeric Laporte, or whatever. I think I might have to consider calling him Laporte because there is no accent aigu on the E on his name. So it's just Laporte, French for the door, of course. And so far, Aymeric has been able to close Laporte on the Costa Rican attackers. Rodri, Busquets, Jordi Alba. He finds Asensio, and that is 2-0 to Spain. And in the blink of an eye, Spain are 2-0 up. It's a nightmare for Costa Rica. In the 21st minute, they are down. So it's going from bad to worse for Costa Rica. And Luis Enrique's La Roja are flying high. Well, once again, some really good football at its best, almost a return to tiki-taka. And once again, the marking from Costa Rica has been pretty poor. Terrific shot almost on the turn, if you will. Credit to Jordi Alba for that pass. Found Asensio beautifully. I wouldn't necessarily call that a volley in that sense of the word, but a look at that, and well, Navas did get a couple of hands to it, but yeah, should definitely have done better there. And clearly the Costa Rican captain is looking chastened right now. So at one particular point, Asensio and Navas might have been teammates for Real Madrid, but now very much on opposing sides, and Asensio has one up on him. 2-0 Spain. Rodri, Laporte, Alba, Gonzalez, Xavi, Ferran Torres, and it's a corner. And Oviedo is apoplectic. So, if you're a Costa Rican fan, you might as well close your eyes right now. If you're a Spanish fan, I hope you're loving everything you're seeing. Midway through the first half, and Spain are 2-0 ahead. Still plenty of time for Costa Rica to come back, but they will need to really reshuffle their pack. Dani Olmo with the corner. Right-footed away swinger. Little argy-bargy going on there. The referee having to sort things out. And the corner is taken and cleared away. Only, however, as far as Asensio, who tried to whip that back in. And Contreras now trying to get it back. And ends up giving it away to Asensio, who's in the penalty area. He can cross. And he ends up winning another corner for Spain off Oscar Duarte. So this is desperate stuff from Costa Rica. They really are under the cosh right now. And I know that Costa Rica had been tipped as a team that could potentially shock a few other teams in this tournament, but at the moment, they really look down and out. And it's a case of the teams that have been able to start very, very quickly that have succeeded in this tournament so far. Japan also should be applauded for the energy they showed until the end. A well-deserved win over Germany earlier today. And Japan and Spain winning means that this group could very well be wide open. Certainly a potential group of death, knowing the quality of Japan and Costa Rica. Ferran Torres gives it away to Costa Rica. And they win it back. Xavi. Back to Rodri now, who passes it to Gonzalez. Laporte. Dani Olmo. Alba. Busquets. Rodri. Azpilicueta. And Costa Rica somehow win it back, and they can try and move forward, but the number 9, Benete, there was always going to be outnumbered by that Spanish defense, who've been on point tonight. And Laporte can just stroll with that. Dani Olmo. Jordi Alba. Over to Rodri. Azpilicueta. Torres. Back to Aspi, as he's fondly called, of course. To Rodri. Laporte. Alba. Olmo. And Olmo wins the throw. This is one long half for Costa Rica. And now Spain can attack again. It is Xavi who gets into the penalty area, but some good defending from Costa Rica sends that away. And it's back with Jordi Alba now, who passes it to Pedri Gonzalez. It's back with Gonzalez from Asensio, who gets it to Xavi. Azpilicueta again, this time to Torres. Back to Xavi, back to Torres again. And some tighter Costa Rica defending now, after the fact, of course, but I suppose better to be down 2-0 than 3 or 4-0. And Spain are continuing to work this around. You could almost say that they're starting to take the mickey out of the Costa Ricans, given the start they've had, but they will want to further assert their dominance. And there's Dani Olmo, who gets it out to Jordi Alba on the left. And Back with Olmo and Pedri Gonzalez, Busquets, Rodri, getting it to Xavi, Ferran Torres in the penalty area to Asensio, but that is cleared away, and Rodri could pass it back. So a sedate sequence of play here, and Spain are continuing to just keep the ball to themselves. KFC Deliveries in the building, and hello to you. How are you? Good to have you with us. I'm sure you enjoyed our coverage of the T20 Cricket World Cup, and now it's another World Cup. This time it's the FIFA Football World Cup all the way from Qatar. So Spain still have it, and they're continuing to work with it. Laporte. Strolling, actually. Dani Olmo now on the left, and he goes down the left after trying to stretch Martinez a bit. Passes it back to Jordi Alba. Gets it, slips it between to Asensio, who passes it back to Olmo, and he sends it to Pedri Gonzalez in the penalty area, but some more desperate defending, but the danger's not over. It's with Jordi Alba, and he wins a penalty. It is going from bad to worse to downright horrible for Costa Rica. The defense is at 6s and 7s, and they just have no answer to the quickness of the Spaniards. It is Oviedo, in fact, the guilty party, who catches Alba on his ankle and, catches him on his heel, rather, and sends him going down. And it will be Ferran Torres who will take the penalty. So the former Real Madrid goalkeeper, who's seen quite a few of these players play during his time in Spain, now stands between his team and a potentially insurmountable 3-0 deficit. Torres cool as a cucumber. Can he slide it past the former Real Madrid man, or will Navas come up trumps? Blows a whistle. And cool as you like. He actually waited for Navas to commit and move one way and slotted the penalty the other way. So efficiently done. And Spain are now 3-0 ahead. Through a Ferran Torres penalty. You can see that again. He saw Navas committing and just sent the ball the other way. All Costa Rica can do is pray. And that might not be the last of the goals today. So what do Costa Rica do from here? Well, they can start by trying to take this throw in the Spanish half. It is, in fact, Fuller who takes that throw and tries to get it to Campbell, but ends up winning another throw, and this time it'll be Carlos Martinez who takes that, with Fuller now trying to get in between the defense, but the defense holds firm. At the moment, Spain are just toying with Costa Rica, but rather sloppy pass there from Unai Simon concedes another throw. I think it's Oviedo now who's taking that throw. Throws it back. Can Costa Rica find a way through? It's gone to Campbell now. And Costa Rica win another throw. Dani Olmo sending that out. Yep, Olmo catching Campbell on the back of his heel. And they win a free kick. And it will be Roland Borges who will take that. certainly with his right foot. Celso Borges, rather, not Roland Borges. Celso will certainly look to take that. But almost certainly try to whip it in. And there are a lot of people standing in the penalty area right now, right-footed. And it's Campbell was caught unawares. Had he caught it, had he been able to get that, he would have done well. But the flag is anyway raised for another offside, and Costa Rica can just find no luck. In fact, Campbell was the guilty party there, sort of running at least a yard offside, and Spain can once again break through. So Celso Borges, of course, a veteran of Deportivo La Coruña in Spain, having played about 200 times for them, 155 caps for the Costa Rican team, certainly one of their most capped, in fact, their most capped international in the team. Along with Brian Ruiz, who is the usual captain but is not starting today. Campbell, of course, a veteran of 119 caps, winning a cap number 120 tonight, but clearly not finding any joy tonight. Spain can continue with Jordi Alba passing that to Rodri. Rodri to Laporte. To Busquets, back to Laporte. To Alba, who sends it forward, and Dani Olmo is onside. And once again, they've smashed the offside trap brilliantly, but again, some desperate defending. And actually some pretty good defending there because, Olmo was in fact offside. So, yeah, a mistimed run again, seeing him just offside. The linesman on the other side doing his job, and sort of funny how they're basically allowed to, complete their attack and then sort of start to run. But 3-0 down in the first half. You sense that there's almost no way back for Costa Rica, but strange things have happened in a World Cup before. Busquets now to Gavi, Rodri, Laporte, Alba, Gonzalez, back to Laporte, Rodri passes it back to Unai Simon, Laporte, Jordi Alba, tries to find Asensio, but has it taken off him. But it's still back with Spain, who can try and attack. And sort of headed over the line, if you will, by Keisha Fuller. Now back with the Spanish defense. Pedri Gonzalez. And this time his pass is too far for Dani Olmo, and they can clear their lines. Any more comments? Ryan's in the building. Just thought I'd come and say hello to you. Thanks very much for coming in, Ryan. I hope you're well, and I will definitely talk to you again sometime soon. Enjoy yourself, and have yourself a good evening, yeah? Wonderful. And Costa Rica can look to break now. Oviedo was overlapped and is trying to run with it. But his first touch is a bit heavy, and Spain can win the ball back. It's with Busquets now, who gets it to Ferran Torres. But Costa Rica is starting to show some bite. It's Calvo now, who wins that back. That is Tejeda. Borges. Campbell to Fuller. Borges. Martinez. Tejeda. Back with Calvo. Oviedo. Oviedo can run down the left. Gets it to Benete, who can definitely run. It's in the penalty area, but Spain have men back to defend. But Costa Rica is still fighting. And Keisha Fuller will try to run for that, and he keeps that in play. Gets it to Joel Campbell. A nice crossover there, waiting for the man. Hook back in, but Rodri can head away, and Spain can also clear their lines. But they don't clear their lines. Now they do. And Martinez trying to somehow get it back from him. And the referee stops play for a Spain free kick. 7 minutes to half time plus stoppages. It's been fast-paced and very frenetic. And you could say the game has started to slow down a little bit following that third goal. You could say the match is perhaps over as a contest, just like the England-Iran game was. I think Costa Rica will be very keen not to concede too many more goals. But once again, it's with Spain through Rodri and Laporte. And that is Asensio now, who had a couple of Costa Rica defenders snapping at his heels, but he got that to Busquets, who passed it to Rodri, to Gavi, back to Busquets, and now to Laporte. Busquets now. Pedri Gonzalez. Jordi Alba. Still on the left, trying to work his magic. Pedri Gonzalez again. Rodri. Azpilicueta. Javi. Busquets. Aspi now. Gets it to Ferran Torres on the right. Passes it back to Gavi. To Busquets. Back to Gavi. And it's sort of a case of keep ball now with 5.5 minutes to go. Laporte. Pedri Gonzalez. Jordi Alba. To Busquets. Back to Gonzalez. Rodri. Send it up to Ferran Torres on the right. And he can find some people, but doesn't quite get the connection he wants. And Costa Rica can half clear their lines, only as far as Alba. Pedri Gonzalez. Sergio Busquets. Ferran Torres. Marco Asensio. Busquets again. And almost certainly a handball there, or it looked like a handball. And it's with Joel Campbell now, who's trying his best to move away from shake off the Spanish shackles. And it is with Keisha Fuller down the right wing, who can certainly run, but he has Pedri Gonzalez snapping at his heels. Passes it to Celso Borges. Joel Campbell. Back with Borges. Campbell. Martinez. And that is eventually passed by Oscar Duarte to Brian Oviedo. Now with Benete. Back to Oviedo. And that an offside flag is raised. Offside against Oviedo, in fact. So some better stuff perhaps from Costa Rica, but not quite able to spring the passer together. And obviously the defense has been well drilled. So credit to Luis Enrique for the work he's done there with his team. About 3.5 minutes to go, plus stoppages. And once again, the Spanish defense is prepared to play keep ball, maybe until the end of the half. Well controlled by Aspi, who can send it up the right wing and finds Ferran Torres, who broke the offside trap. Asensio. Aspi. Asensio. Gavi. Asensio. Jordi Alba. Pedri Gonzalez. Dani Olmo. And this time Keisha Fuller clears his lines. Still not out of danger yet, are Costa Rica, because Asensio has the ball. And this time his shot is charged down. And that is good defending from Celso Borges there. Sort of brave, in fact. He sort of slid in the way, got his body in the way, and snuff that attack out. Still with the Spanish defense, taking their time, threading passes through. Pedri Gonzalez now. Jordi Alba. Dani Olmo. Gonzalez. Rodri. Aspi. Rodri. Back with Azpilicueta, who sends it all the way back to Unai Simon. Laporte. Gonzalez. Back with Laporte. Rodri. An excellent turn there, but that should be cleared up by the defender. And Navas can send that kick quite long. Only as far as the Spanish head, though. That is Rodri, in fact. And Costa Rica try to win it back, but end up conceding a free kick in the process. So desperate defending now the order of the day at this particular point in time, with about a minute or so to go. Gonzalez. Alba. Olmo lets that go through to Busquets, to Gavi, to Busquets, Pedri Gonzalez, Marco Asensio, Jordi Alba on the left, passes it back to Laporte, and that sort of goes begging for another offside, this time against Jordi Alba, who wasn't quite able to get back in time. Timed his run well enough, but ended up straying a bit too far. And Enrique isn't happy with that. He would have wanted a fourth goal. And the Costa Rican fans, all they can do is just sit and wonder how this happened. One of those days, huh? Going to find out how much time will be added on, because half-time has just elapsed. Probably shouldn't be too much in terms of added time. And Keylor Navas can claim that. 5 minutes. Interesting. More than enough time for either side to get a goal, so still with you for now. And clearly a handball there against Joel Campbell. Sort of raising his arm right there and allowing it to fall on that. You certainly can't use your arm to control that ball in any way. And not only did Diego Maradona use that hand in 1986, he also, unbeknown to most, used that in the early rounds of 1990. And that wasn't even picked up by the referee then. That referee had to be sent home. An out-of-time podcast. JPT could be 6-0 by the time the match is over. Certainly wouldn't put it beyond them. But again, you know, halftime can perhaps make a difference. Hanno's predicted a 4-0 win. We'll see how these predictions hold true. Unai Simon to Gonzalez, who was able to control that. About 3 minutes left of time added on. Jordi Alba, Gonzalez, Busquets now, Laporte. Rodri. Rodri now can send it forward. And it is with Gavi. And there are a lot of gaps in the Costa Rican defense, but thankfully for them, no one on the end of that, and Keisha Fuller can clear his lines. Half the time added on has expired. There'll be another 2.5 minutes left. And certainly since the third goal, the pace has become a lot more sedate. Just reminds me, I am on my way to just about to enter the link to the chat in the box. So this is the link right now for all of you. It's in the chat, streamyard.com. Please click this link if you want to come on and have your say. I will be here to receive you. And as the police would say, let's be having you. Or in this case, let me have you as a guest. 2 minutes left. It's with Aymeric Laporte, Jordi Alba, Gonzalez, Asensio again from Alba, and an infringement was there. So Costa Rica able to win a free kick, and Asensio can see the humorous side of it, perhaps. Actually, it's a Spain free kick. It looks as though the referee wanted to play advantage, but was unable to do so and pulled it back for a free kick. So 1 minute left of added time at the end of the first half. Pedri Gonzalez. Rodri. Nice little back heel there. Finds Pedri Gonzalez, who can certainly run. Finds Asensio. Can he score again? No, this time he can't. The Costa Rica defender there. I would say it's the Costa Rica number 6, Oscar Duarte, who was able to... Actually, that wasn't... Yep, that was Oscar Duarte, who was able to thwart Asensio, and all he could do was sky it high into the stands. Not that it really matters, though. When your team's 3-0 up with about 20 seconds to go before the end of the first half, you don't really need to focus on the ones you miss. But now it's back in the Spanish half, headed back by Azpilicueta to Unai Simon, who has not had a save to make all night. Barely had any touches of the ball, albeit for a few back passes. And the referee should blow his whistle right now, and he does. So, a study in contrast of managers. The Spanish manager, Luis Enrique, looking quite happy, while the Costa Rican manager will be apoplectic. Goals coming in thick and fast in the 11th minute from Dani Olmo, in the 21st minute from Marcos Asensio, and Ferran Torres applying the finishing touches to the scoring with a penalty, sending Keylor Navas the wrong way. So at halftime, it is Spain 3, Costa Rica 0, and it must be said that Costa Rica are in all sorts of trouble. It might be harsh to say that this match is as good as lost, but at this particular point, you know, it's really hard to see Costa Rica coming back unless they make some drastic changes. And I think if we take a look at the Costa Rican bench, well, certainly their defense might need a little bit of tightening up. I know that Oviedo has been outstanding, as have Duarte and Calvo, but maybe a little bit more tightness will be needed. They have transitioned into 4-4-2 now with Campbell and Contreras, the strikers. So while Fuller has looked good and Benete has looked quite good, the centre midfield has looked a little bit weak. Now, I wouldn't take off Borges, who has had a good game, but certainly Yeltsin Tejeda is ripe to perhaps come off and maybe come on in favor of another midfielder. Could it be Brandon Aguilera, Douglas Lopez, Rowan Wilson, Hernandez, or even Zamora? Maybe Ruiz, the captain, could come on. Ruiz, of course, at 37 is the oldest man in the squad. Keylor Navas, the second oldest, at 35. So, very nice blend of youth and experience. The youngest of them, Benete, is starting tonight, wearing number 7. So, Costa Rica definitely have it all to do. And it's really hard to see where they go from here. Very hard indeed. But what can you do? Such is life. Such is life. And with that penalty, Ferran Torres is Spain's youngest scorer at a World Cup, since his namesake, Fernando, scored 3 times in 2006, the tournament where he made his name. And of course, it is almost back to the tiki-taka style of football which made them famous. I think after the likes of Javi Hernandez and Andres Iniesta ended their careers, a new generation has come in and taken up that mantle. Yeah, yeah. Mm. He's getting a nice warm drink and probably will need to have a warm drink to settle down. And it's almost child's play, really, from Spain. And Costa Rica will definitely have it all to do. So let me see if there's anyone backstage. No, no one's joined in yet. Having to wear these earphones can be a real pain in the ears. And the irritation is clearly not lost on me. But we got Sol Campbell and Robert Pires in the studio. Both of them, of course, members of Arsenal's Invincibles, two-time Premier League winner. Also won 2 FA Cups with Arsenal and another FA Cup with Portsmouth when he was captain. See the goals again and again and again. And this is, of course, the third match of the day. And the final match, of course, will see Belgium taking on Canada from Group C. So, not Group C, Group E, I think. So, yeah, that's certainly a match for the ages. The might of the Belgians against the youth of Canada, relative youth. Jonathan David and Alphonso Davies will certainly have their work cut out against the venerated Belgian defence. And then, of course, you cannot overlook the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Eden Hazard and company. And then they have the Belgian wall in Thibaut Courtois in goal. Perez, of course, a winner of the 98 and 8 World Cup and 2,000 euros. Missed out on 2002 due to injury, and it looks as though he dodged a bullet there. And very controversially overlooked for the 2006 World Cup by the then coach Raymond Domenech, who, quite frankly, was every bit a nutter as coach and certainly not a good man manager. So, I remember saying that Spain looked a little bit inconsistent, but it looks as though they certainly have a lot about them, and the team spirit is quite high. And obviously, the Argentinian and German results have spurred Costa Rica on to make sure that they, spurred Spain on to make sure they do not take this lightly. I think the commentators and the analysts have summed it up. It is, after that third goal, is very much like a training keep ball session for Spain, with Costa Rica chasing and not getting much of it. So it looks as though the manager, Martinez, will have to try and make some changes to the midfield, definitely. I mentioned bringing off Tejeda and bringing on another midfielder. Maybe Brian Ruiz can come in and lend some solidity. Or if they want some speed, maybe someone younger. A lot of inexperience in that midfield, though, but certainly not lacking in youth and willingness to run. So you could see the experience in Ruiz, Borges, and Tejeda. About, I would say, nearly 400 caps between them, maybe 374 caps between them. Now, of course, up to 377 tonight, but at the moment, they haven't been able to get in any kind of a sniff, and I know that in a few minutes they will be resuming for the second half. So, also want to say sorry to people who saw me eating earlier. Had to make sure I had my dinner and multitask, you see. And I will have to make sure that I keep my hands clean. 3 attempts on target, 2 of them were goals, and of course, the third one being the penalty. So, I will just take leave for about 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute, just clean my hands, and I will be back very, very shortly. Whew. Now that was quick, I think. And just want to make sure that I am back in time for the start. Of course, every time I lean forward, I'm just getting myself fresh. And tomorrow, of course, will be Group G and Group H. Portugal against Ghana, Cristiano Ronaldo against Andre Ayew and company, and that will be the third game, of course, of the series. And kickoff for that will, of course, be at 4 p.m. GMT, 6 p.m. if you're in South Africa, like Hanno, and 9:30 p.m. if you're in India, like yours truly. And apart from Portugal's group, Brazil's group will be in action. Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. I remember providing insight to Group G for the Coach's Corner. And so Certainly can't look beyond Brazil qualifying from that group as winners, so it could be between Serbia and Switzerland. The only problem is, with all of these shock results taking place, you just can't. It's almost impossible to predict who could top the group, and you just have to, wait for the results to play out. But that's the fun of the World Cup. You get shocks, and 20 years ago there were some very big shocks in Japan and Korea, with fairly similar climatic conditions, probably more humidity in Japan and Korea than in Qatar. But a lot of people who wanted to try to prepare and acclimatize weren't really able to, adapt to the pace, and they ended up falling by the wayside. And I will say that that was almost certainly England's best chance to win that World Cup since 1996. I remember that team only too well. Trevor Sinclair down the left, an injury replacement, of course, for Steven Gerrard and Danny Murphy. He ended up slotting in after Owen Hargreaves himself got injured. And then David Beckham earning redemption against the Argentinians. David Seaman having a fine tournament until the quarterfinal. And I will say right now that that goal was a fluke. I don't care what Ronaldinho said or says now. He did not mean to do that. But again, it was Eriksson's first major tournament, Sven-Göran Eriksson's tournament, and Joe Cole's first World Cup, among others. Getting a lot of posts and messages. I want to make sure that I am, of course, in time for kickoff. I do not want to miss that. Just in time. So the Spaniards are out on the field, and I want to see if there have been any changes made by Costa Rica. I'm going to go back and check and see. Nothing as reported by BBC Sports, so for the moment it is all clear. And any minute now, Costa Rica will get the half on the way. And they kick it off with Costa Rica attacking from right to left. And Costa Rica will now look to try to get some sort of a foothold in this half and try and get something out of this game. I really cannot see them winning or avoiding defeat, but certainly how they perform in this half will determine the course of the match. And once again, Campbell over there trying to get something, only to end up seeing coalescing of Spanish defenders who are able to, get themselves out of danger. Jordi Alba there passing it to Dani Olmo, trying to go down the left, only to end up, it is a Spanish throw. And just confirming the lineup, certainly no changes made by Luis Enrique Martinez Garcia, the Spanish coach and former Barcelona player and manager. But don't really need to make any changes when you're 3-0 up. Maybe bring on a few players to close the game out. And of course, confirmation of Costa Rica's lineup. Goalkeeper and captain Navas. And actually, there has been a change, in fact. I can confirm now that the number 19, Kendall Watson, has been brought on. And it looks as though he's replaced Brian Oviedo. No, he hasn't replaced Oviedo because Oviedo's still on. But we will find out who Watson replaced. And obviously, the Costa Rica manager felt pressured to act. A lot of people calling this a mismatch in quality. Maybe harsh, but it is what it is. Emerick Laporte now to Jordi Alba. Dani Olmo. Gonzalez. Olmo. Gonzalez again. Crosses it to Rodri, who gets it to Azpilicueta. Still can certainly suit the pace of international football, but maybe a little bit too slow for the Premiership. And once again, every time the Costa Ricans would pull a ball forward, there wouldn't be anyone able to get that. And Benete over there looking a little bit isolated, really, and unable to get any supply. So This has been a smart match played by Spain, and Azpilicueta is now running down the right. He does run far, passes it to Asensio, who can shoot, and sends that over the bar, claiming a corner, but clearly that is a goal kick. There was no way in heck that Navas could have touched that over. He knows that. He knows that. Probably looking for a deflection off the Costa Rican defender there, but wasn't going to get that. So Navas with the goal kick. Long into the Spanish half. It was met by Celso Borges, but now it is back with Spain. But Costa Rica can keep it. And it is Calvo who passes it to Joel Campbell, trying to make something of it. Don't really seem to have the legs for this game, Spain. And Oviedo can try and cross it into the penalty area. But once again, the Spanish defense holds firm. Unai Simon hasn't been tested at all in this game, and it's a sort of a statement, really, of the quality of the defending, but also the fact that Costa Rica's attacking has been rather toothless. I can confirm that the number 19, Watson, is on the field, and it looks as though he might have replaced the right back, Carlos Martinez. Yes, the right back, Carlos Martinez, has been replaced. Not sure why he would have been replaced, but probably because Alba and Olmo were able to find some joy down the left wing. So maybe some defensive reinforcement is the need of the hour. Kendall. It's not Watson, it's Waston. Or maybe it's spelt Waston, but pronounced Watson. I'm not too sure. I will certainly look to try and find that out for you. But at the moment, Spain still have the ball. And it is with Jordi Alba, the number 18. One of the few surviving members of Spain's World Cup win. Pedri Gonzalez to Asensio. To Dani Olmo. Back to Pedri Gonzalez. Sends it across to Cesar Azpilicueta. Rodri. And is back with Azpilicueta, but Oviedo certainly trying to intercept, but that first touch was his enemy. So I would assume that it would be, he would have been spelt. He would have been misspelt Waston, but Costa Ricans do have a very interesting habit of adopting some very Anglo-Saxon names. I'm sure a lot of us will remember the likes of Yervis Drummond, who, of course, played for Costa Rica in a few World Cups, as did the likes of other players include Hearn and Medford, and a few others. So probably a misspelling, I would say. Marco Asensio to Gavi, all the way to Ferran Torres on the right, who can try and send it in. But once again, the defense now holds firm, and it is Keisha Fuller who is able to send that away for a throw-in. Looks as though damage limitation might be the order of the day in this second half, and certainly in order. And certainly Spain do look in good form, as proved by their Nations League exploits. Not quite able to get over the line in the Euros, but some rather clumsy work there from Brian Oviedo sees Spain win a corner. And more substitutes are warming up now as we speak for Costa Rica. I'm sure they can't come onto the field soon enough. And so who'll be taking this Spanish corner? Someone right-footed. It's a short corner, left-footed by Marco Asensio, who gets it to Dani Olmo. He's able to retrieve that from Pedri Gonzalez. Asensio sending it through to Olmo. And almost an own goal there, but the Costa Rican defense can hold firm. And if Fuller and Campbell have the legs, they could break, but excellent work there from Azpilicueta, who anticipated that. And now The ball is with Asensio, Alba, Sergio Busquets now. Not really very much happening, really. It's almost a keep ball training session. And Spain is still keeping the ball. Let me see if there's anyone in the comments or the chat. Nope, nothing else. No one else. And it's still back with Spain, with Aymeric Laporte. Rodri sends it forward to Pedri Gonzalez, to Dani Olmo. Back with Gonzalez. Gavi, Perez. Pushed by Calvo, but the referee waves play on. Azpilicueta to Ferran Torres, who sends it all the way down to Gavi. And it's Torres again. And some pretty unique defending there, but it's all in vain. And Spain have their fourth, and it is Ferran Torres again. And this is turning into an absolute rout. I know Hanno said 4-0, but JPT is spot on when he says it could very well be 6-0. But, you know, it's all happening, and this could be yet another mismatch of quality here. But, you know, it is what it is. And Keylor Navas, for all of his experience and for his impressive CV, has had an absolutely rude awakening tonight. Just sort of squirmed under him. Unable to get down in time. Clearly seems to be lacking in any sort of match fitness, and Luis Enrique is delighted. His team are laying down a marker. So the only question is, do Spain bring on some substitutes to further slow down the game? Nope. 55 minutes are about to go to elapse. Still 35 minutes left. And for Costa Rica, you sense the tension, the torture isn't over. And a valiant effort by Benete to keep that in play, but that goes out for a Spanish throw. And that just sort of sums up Costa Rica's night tonight, really. Well, there is a substitution, and it looks as though Alvaro Morata will be brought into the picture. The only question is, who does he replace? Does he replace Asensio, who's had a more than decent night tonight, with a goal of his own? Does he replace Dani Olmo? Or Ferran Torres, perhaps? A rather needless infraction there by Celso Borges sees Spain win a free kick. They take it fairly quickly, and it's Dani Olmo way down the left, but prevented from entering further in the penalty area. And Oviedo heads that over the bar for another Spanish corner. And I wonder if Morata will be brought on, or... Yes, he will be brought on, and Ferran Torres has denied a possible hat-trick. But he's had a fine game tonight, the youngster. Made history by being one of Spain's youngest goal scorers at the World Cup. And it will be the more experienced Morata who will come in with a fairly impressive record of over 50 caps for Spain and very nearly 30 goals. So Pedri is also coming off, Pedri Gonzalez, and he will be replaced by the number 19, Carlos Soler. Short corner by Spain, and more torture for Costa Rica. Punched out by Navas when we all thought he was going to claim that. Chipped back in, and once again headed away, this time by Watson or Waston, whatever you'd want to call it. The substitute there, quite tall fella. Certainly proving his worth with his height. And this is Spain's fifth corner of the night, with Costa Rica not having a corner of their own. A lot was expected of Costa Rica coming into this tournament, but today they've just been outclassed. I don't really fancy many other teams being able to. I certainly don't fancy them being able to get the better of the other teams in the group. So, the sloppy play there from Asensio, which sees a throw-in conceded. Calvo with the throw-in. And does the referee wave for a foul? No, he doesn't. And finally, Martinez from Costa Rica, the manager, makes a substitution. Another one. Made one at half-time, and it looks as though he's bringing on another one on. It is Alvaro Zamora, another midfielder who will be coming on. And I wonder who will he be replacing. Laporte. Olmo. Alba. Laporte. And pass back to Unai Simon, who still has not had a save to make. Carlos Soler back to Alba. Actually, that was to Laporte, to Alba, then to Laporte. And it's kicked out by Unai Simon. And we have a Spanish throw. And once again, it's a case of almost keep ball, really, because Costa Rica just cannot get the ball off the Spaniards right now. So certainly with Zamora coming on, it might lend a bit of bite to the midfield. But at the moment, they've got some defending to do. It is Alvaro Morata down the right, fulfilling the role that Ferran Torres played. And kept in play. Brilliant back heel. Just goes to show that you cannot play to the. You have to play to the whistle, and you cannot, lose your concentration. Spain just looked that much more up for it. Certainly not as exciting as I thought it would be with an hour now gone, half an hour left. Really, this game is definitely as good as done and dusted. All Costa Rican can do is try and get a consolation goal or two to maybe improve their goal difference. They will end up bottom of this group behind Germany, and Spain will be topping it with Japan in second. So not sure what to think of these shocks so far. Certainly in the case of Argentina, they still have the potential to top the group. And of course, if they win both their remaining matches, they will top the group in lieu of Mexico and Poland having drawn earlier on. And there are two substitutions, in fact. It's the number 7, Contreras, who will be coming off for Zamora, and Benete will be coming off for Costa Rica's number 10, Brian Ruiz, the captain, of course. And he should be getting the armband very soon from Navas. So the captain comes on. Can he inspire fight back? Well, at least Costa Rica can breathe a little bit. A speculative shot from Dani Olmo there being sent well over the bar. Goal kick from Navas, hoping to find Ruiz, but not able to. And now, of course, with Ruiz on, he will almost certainly look to direct the passage of play in the midfield. And offside against the other substitute, Zamora. And another 2 substitutions for Spain. Number 14 and number 8. Number 14 happens to be Alejandro Balde. And Morata's Real Madrid teammate, Koke, will be coming on. I know that Coke is one of the more popular drinks around and one of the sponsors of the World Cup. That's spelled C-O-K-E. This chap here is K-O-K-E. Laporte, Alba, Olmo, back to Alba, to Soler, to Gonzalez. That's Pilaqueta. And that's brilliantly met by Alvaro Morata on the run, but couldn't get the shot on target. And so Morata, of course, is a former Madrid youth player himself who has since gone on to play for Juventus, Chelsea, and Atletico. And this right here is why he wasn't picked to start today. But the long-serving Jordi Alba is off, as is the captain Sergio Busquets. Both of them have had good games today in the center of midfield, directing the play, pulling the strings, and they will be replaced by Alejandro Balde and Koke from Atletico Madrid. And once they settle into that midfield, I'm sure there'll be no letting up. Because, I mean, the game is pretty much in the bag as it is. Really can't see too much happening. Watson there trying to pass it to, I think that was Fuller down the right. And now it's a chance for Oviedo to try and get that, but he wasn't really going to do so. And Simon was able to receive that and pass that out to his defenders. And Spain are away now through Carlos Soler. Balde. Laporte. Back to Simon, who sends it a little bit long. Headed back in by Calvo. Azpilicueta. And that's sent out of play by Oviedo, who's certainly run himself into the ground. Been one of the more attacking defenders, certainly involved in every play. He might end up being brought off for a rest. Azpilicueta with the throw to Xavi, who gets it back to him. Headed again by Calvo, back inside, and some head tennis going on right now. Another use of the head, and straight back to Unai Simon, who collects it with his hands. So, again, for a back pass, if it's headed straight back to the goalkeeper can claim it with his hands. And that is sent to Alejandro Balde down the left to Dani Olmo. And can Balde keep it in play? No, he can't. I believe the referee has ruled that that's gone out of play. So some good speed there from the youngster. And clearly all to do right now for Costa Rica. I mean, they really have no chance of getting anything from this game. All they can do is just try and get a consolation maybe. In many ways, it's become a lot more sedate, and I'm not too sure what people can really think of the play right now. And so there is a Costa Rica sequence over here. Brian Ruiz now, the captain, passes it to Brian Oviedo. And once again, the linesman's flag is raised for offside. Oviedo can really have no complaints. He hasn't quite been able to time his runs. And you can see that the receptions between the midfield and the defensive lines have been outstanding. Olmo with 24, Asensio with 19, and Jordi Alba with 16 of his own. So a lot of, terrific tiki-taka play. It'll take a really strong team to try to dismantle that. And yet I don't see Germany being able to, unless they can find a way to really attack them. Pedro Jimenez, who was allowed to run, but muscled off the ball there by Calvo. And Calvo can try and get it away, but instead only ends up finding a Spanish attacker and ends up tackling him very aggressively and going into the book as a result. So Francisco Calvo there, feeling the frustration. And it sort of sums up Costa Rica's day. Midpoint of the second half. No real hope for them. And well, he certainly came in quite hard on Carlos Soler over there. And you can certainly see how aggressive and painful that challenge was. And I'm sure there will be quite a few stoppages. And certainly another substitution. It's Iñaki Williams Jr. of Ghanaian roots, who will be coming on for Marco Asensio, who also has had a good game in the center of the attack and scored a fine goal himself. I wonder, will they add any more goals to their total, or will they be satisfied with the 4 tonight? We will see. Spain now down the left. Olmo, Balde, Koke. And that is passed out by Soler to Azpilicueta, who can try and find the man. Does he find Olmo? Yes, he does, but that header is really very tame. Not really troubling for Keylor Navas, and Navas sends it quite long. Does he find his man? He finds Joel Campbell, but he's muscled off the ball. And sort of sums up everything, really, because Costa Rica have simply been, just muscled off the ball tonight. That pressing, that tiki-taka passing, it's just been really a treat to watch if you're a football purist. A little over 20 minutes to go, and certainly no hope for Costa Rica now. Can they at least score a consolation or maybe 2, like Iran did? Balde sort of staying on Zamora. Francisco Calvo there. Brian Oviedo. Keeps it in play, and Joel Campbell has it, but Spain can get it back. It's clearly been just one of those games where after the initial goal rush, things have started to die down a little bit. And really can't see very much hope for Costa Rica, either in this match or probably not even in this group. They clearly seem to look off the pace, and it will be a struggle for them to try to get anything from their remaining group games. Spain certainly look good best atop the group, but then you can't rule out anything happening. And they've avoided a shock tonight, so they can be very happy with that. Another substitution coming on. It is Brandon Aguilera, who will be coming on for Celso Borges, who certainly run himself into the ground tonight. And the young Aguilera is 19 years old, so definitely some freshness being brought on. And maybe some options for Costa Rica's next games in the process. It'll be interesting to see if Keylor Navas gets dropped. The first reserve goalkeeper is Esteban Alvarado, number 18. And Patrick Sequeira, age 23, is the third keeper. 25 caps for Alvarado, so I'm not too sure the manager will be very eager to make that sort of a hard call. It is, in fact, Luis Fernando Suarez's decision, really, whether he decides to take off Navas for the next game. Clearly looks off the pace a little bit, but for the moment, there's some more defending that needs to be done. Pedri Gonzalez, but that's cut off very well by Keisha Fuller, and he can continue to run. And he finds his teammate. It's come back to Fuller. But you can see right now that Soler and Laporte were basically, double teaming him, shut the door on him. Does Olmo keep that in play? Yes, he does. And Balde was in the penalty area. Morata was also trying to get on the end of that. Actually, that was Williams who was in the penalty area. Iñaki Williams and Morata. Brian Ruiz now, who has the captain's armband back. And is Campbell offside? No, he's not. Yeah, no, he's not. Yes, he is. Once again, they just haven't been able to time their runs very well. And, it's again a case of Campbell, who has the speed, not quite being able to, get it in. Oh, boy. So, no comments, no one joining in. Let me take a look at the comments right now. Once again, another reminder, if you want to come in and have your say, and Morata's in the penalty area. He rounds Navas. Nope. Navas denies him. But he's able to pass it to Pedri Jimenez. And it's 5-0 now. Actually, that's not Pedri Gonzalez. It is Javi Perez who has the 5th goal. And you just get the feeling that it really, really is, first of all, the ticker was completely wrong. I had to correct that. It is... and now it's correct, 4-0, but some good work there by Navas to deny Morata. He was able to get back fairly quickly, but again, there was non-existent man marking. The defense was all over the place, and a very instinctive sort of finish over there, leaving Navas stranded inside of the post and in. And again, that just sums up, Costa Rica's day. 5-0 down. Javi Perez on 74 minutes. And Luis Suarez will be sitting over there in the dugout thinking, it's just one of those days. Everything that could go wrong has gone badly, badly wrong. 14 and a half minutes left. And I think it's fair to say that the Costa Ricans will be pleading with the referee not to provide any stoppage time. Just end their agony and let them go home or back to their hotel. But it's not over yet. The Spaniards are still coming along. The Spanish Armada is still in full stretch. Balde, Dani Olmo, Carlos Soler, Koke, Balde. Come on. Laporte, Rodri, Koke, Laporte. Basically just keeping the ball right now, really. And it's back with Balde. Laporte. And they've lost it. It's with Oviedo now. Tejeda rather. Azpilicueta. Iñaki Williams. I'm pretty certain that Alvaro Morata will want to get on the score sheet and make it 6-0. But clearly this has been an absolutely dominant display by the Spaniards. Costa Rica have looked nowhere near in the game. I mean, I can almost just take a bit of a break, really. Costa Rica have been that poor. Spain have been that good. And Costa Rica have won the ball, but, well, a moment of respite. It looks as though Costa Rica might have a free kick. If they could possibly, to convert that into an opportunity for goal, that will be just what the doctor would order. And that free kick in the end came to nothing. And clearly, Watson is now trying to get in the face of Laporte and has sort of devolved into a bit of a scuffle, really. Broken up fairly quickly by the likes of Unai Simon and Koke, who has the captain's armband for Spain. And it's almost getting to be a little bit, you can see that it's starting to peter out as a contest, really. In fact, it was over as a contest a long time ago, really, but yeah, Williams over there sort of jumping over Laporte and ending up falling over him. And certainly with a physique like that, he is certainly a strong, strapping fella. Well suited to be in the defense. A little over 10 minutes left. Will there be stoppages or will the referee be merciful? Iñaki Williams. Floated inside, but the defense can mercifully clear. I believe Morata was trying to get on the end of that. Once again, the defense has been at 6s and 7s, and Spain have been too fast and too quick, really. It's hard, really, to sort of think of where Spain might have a weak point because they've been that good. And certainly with the freshness of the team so far, with the exception of the likes of Busquets and Alba and certainly Koke, one or two others, this is a team where youth is certainly the order of the day. Javi Perez. Dani Olmo. Balde is overlapping him. Instead, it's passed to Carlos Soler. Javi Perez. To Rodri. Straight to... Yep, and Morata is through. Does he score? Nope. Navas is able to save that with his legs. A fairly straightforward save because that ball was not really threatening enough. And of course, Morata ended up being offside. So moving a bit too far forward too soon. And he was never going to score from that angle with that shot. And it's another substitution. Brian Oviedo comes off. Certainly run himself into the ground all night. And he has been replaced by the number 22, Ronald Matarrita. Certainly an experienced defender, 28 years old, 52 caps to his name. Cap number 53 tonight. And he will be asked to just see out the game. Definitely damage limitation. I mean, they certainly haven't been able to limit the damage too much, but they've conceded fewer goals in this half than they did in the first half. No real consolation, of course, but it is what it is. And is there another substitution for Spain? Well, it looked as though Azpilicueta was looking tired a bit. Considered by some to be not fast enough to handle the pace of the English Premier League, but when it comes to international football, he is definitely still more than capable. Alejandro Balde now, but muscled off the ball. And Costa Rica just can't catch a break. 33 years old, 43rd cap for Spain tonight. Quite experienced and probably look to earn about 60 or 70 caps by the time he retires. Rodri, Laporte, back to Unai Simon. Alejandro Balde now. Morata. Koke. Azpilicueta. Koke. And back with Koke, who tries to send it forward. And Inaki Williams couldn't get on the end of that. And that's a Costa Rican goal kick. So showing some replay of the goal there. A very instinctive, cheeky sort of finish, leaving Keylor Navas stranded. And it's a fantastic 5 to Spain. Inaki Williams now trying to find an opening, but closed down by Ruiz and company. Ruiz now has the ball, but he's being sort of patrolled by Azpilicueta. And about 5.5 minutes to go. Not really much hope for Costa Rica. Never any hope. But certainly would love to see them score at least once. Kind of reminds me of the French team in 2002 World Cup when they had arguably the worst defense of their championship. Spain's defense in 2014 was only marginally better. They beat Australia 3-0 in their final game, having been sent out of the tournament after 2. But with a record of played 3, drawn 1, and lost 2 to Senegal and Denmark, France didn't even score a goal. Javi Perez being pushed over. And with 5 minutes to go, Spain can still continue to play. A recap of the goal scorers. Olmo, Asensio, Ferran Torres with a penalty, Torres again, and finally Gavi Perez. So I think Spain might possibly, in the back of their mind, be going for a 6-0 and possibly trying to eclipse England's result against Iran earlier this week. Olmo on the left. Carlos Soler. Balde now who has the ball. Sends it to Olmo in the penalty area, but his attempt at the chip is thwarted by Kendall Waston. And the referee awards a free kick to Costa Rica, a very rare moment of respite in this game. I think the players pretty much know that it's game over. And the Costa Rican fans are trying to find some moments of cheer amid the gloom. As for the Spanish fans, they're loving every minute of it. And certainly attempted a through ball, but Unai Simon comes out and snuffs out the danger. And Watson now clears up and concedes a Spanish throw. 3 minutes left. It really should be all over bar the shouting. I just wonder how many more minutes will be added, because there was 5 added in the first half. One would assume that there would be something like about 5 or 6, maybe even 7. We have a comment. NS Sports TV, Nipun Sharma, good to see you. Listen, Nipun, the link is in the chat right now. So if after the game you want to have a quick chat for 5 minutes and just talk about the game, you're welcome to. You can click the link and join in now if you like. Keep me company. I mean, it's tough being lonely here, but It is what it is. This is what happens when you do a watch-along. Gavi Perez. Dani Olmo sends it through to Morata, but Navas is there to snuff out the danger. And was Morata offside again? No, this time he wasn't from the looks of it, but I think he pretty much checked his run there to avoid being flagged offside, maybe. 2 minutes left now, and really all over bar the shouting. And Nippon, if you're still on, I wonder what your opinion is on the Germany-Japan game and a few other games in the tournament. Please let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Of course, I will be getting off this stream before just before 6 o'clock because I do GMT, because I do have another stream to attend. But I will be back in about an hour from now, of course, for the Belgium-Canada game, if it's still open. Or I'm sure Hanno might have someone available to cover that game anyway. But yeah, let's take a look and see what happens in these remaining 1 minute 10 seconds. I hope there won't be stoppages added on. Carlos Soler now with the ball down the left. Passes it to Koke. Gavi Perez. Iñaki Williams. Sending it through. Saved by Navas, but emphatically thumped into the net by Carlos Soler. And JPT, if you're in the building, it could be 6-0. It is 6-0. And so not too long after coming on as a substitute, Carlos Soler rubbed salt into the Costa Rican wounds in the 90th minute. And so this result will definitely eclipse England's victory over Iran earlier in the tournament. And we've got Moss in the building. 5-0. Let's go Gooners. And there will be 8 minutes of added on time. Canadian Gooner David soon to come. 6-0. Yes, Moss, I know you'll be joining Stephen Featley and company for their watch-along later on today. I know that Canada, of course, playing, so bon chance pour les Rouges. Good luck to Team Canada. And another reminder, the link is in the chat if you just want to come on and have your say briefly. Actually, you know what? I don't know if I'll have time to, get anyone. But again, you can always come on right now and have a chat. Campbell now with a hopeful-looking cross, but Unai Simon will claim that. And that pretty much sums up Costa Rica's day. And the worst part is that with 8 more minutes of agony, it could very well be 7-0. We don't know. And I think Alvaro Morata, knowing him, will be absolutely gutted not to see his name on the score sheet. But you know what? Spain are up and away. The Spanish Armada is in full sail. And other teams had better watch out. I might want to actually check the draw for the World Cup, because let's just assume that at this form, Spain end up qualifying from the group as group winners. I mean, I know they have to beat Japan, but they should also have a bit too much for Germany as well. So I want to take a look at the knockout stage. Let me just present it, share my screen. So this is the draw according to, and this time Alvaro Morata gets on the score sheet. It's 7-0, and the agony just does not end. Blink and you miss it. Blink and you absolutely miss it. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, the number 7 makes it 7. Comparatively muted reaction there. Excellent work from Iñaki Williams. Some good work there from Morata, who passes it back, sees an opening there in the goal, and once again, Navas is left absolutely helpless. So couldn't score a goal with his right foot, but is able to steer it in with his left, and that is yet another goal for Alvaro Morata. He has the goal he wanted, and oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh, man. Well, so people, this is the draw right here. We are basically talking about Group E being played, and the winners of Group E are drawn to play the runners-up of Group F. And no, this is of course Group F, I believe. Let me take a look and see what the groups are. Yeah, Group F, of course, is Belgium and Canada's group. So if Spain win Group E, they end up playing the runners-up of Group F. And the runners-up of Group F could either be Croatia or maybe one of Morocco or Canada. We don't know. But certainly Spain could have a good path to the quarterfinal stage. And they could end up facing the winner of the fifth of another round of 16 clash between the winners of Brazil's group and the runners-up of Portugal's group. So this match on the 9th of December, assuming Spain get this far, will be very tasty indeed. But oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. You just can't rest for a minute. Alejandro Balde cleared away. Spain have had 15 attempts on goal. 7 of them have been on target. 7 of them have been goals. And Costa Rica have not forced Unai Simon to make a save. Total and utter domination. I mean, if the referee had any sense, I do seem to remember a Bundesliga game where one team scored about 8 or 9 goals, and the referee decided not to award any stoppage time in order to avoid prolonging the agony. But I fear for Costa Rica. It could very well be 8, and it could be 8 with Gavi Perez in. Carlos Soler, this time he skews that wide. But they're just toying with the Costa Ricans right now, and this is definitely a black day in Costa Rican football history. I wonder what changes Luis Suarez will make to his team. No, not that Luis Suarez. I'm talking about the Costa Rica manager. And he knows he should have put that on target. Certainly a black day in Keylor Navas's career. Considered to be fit to play in the World Cup despite having had a difficult season with PSG. And he's been pumped for 7 tonight. The defense was at 6s and 7s. The midfield just couldn't get going. But I think, to be fair, this has been an absolutely dominant performance by Spain from the get-go. They've been fast, they've been energetic, they've snapped at the Costa Rican heels. And Balde has been fouled, so this will be another booking. Insult to injury for Joel Campbell, who's certainly tried his best, but not able to get very much. Has the crucifix shaved into his head, but not even God Almighty could save him and his team. Stamping on Balde's foot right there. Once again, people, this is the link. And I still have to change the ticker. Alvaro Morata, 90 plus 3. Confirmation of the score. 30 seconds to go. I think the referee, if he has any sense, will probably end it right on the dot at 8 minutes, but this has quite simply been an absolute humiliation for Costa Rica. But to be fairness, I'm not sure there's any team who would have been able to withstand the pressure exerted by Spain today. And, you know, this Spanish team could very well go a long way in the group. But there was an insightful comment on the BBC Sport website saying you cannot judge it. And mercifully, the referee has ended it. It is now, in fact, Costa Rica 0, Spain 7. And quite simply, this has been utter domination. Alvaro Morata and Navas sharing a moment there. Carlos Soler also consoling Navas. Koke. Certainly good friendships with the La Liga players. And some more of the subs coming on who haven't been used, of course, onto the field at the end of the game. And when you take a look at the quality of Spain's squad, just look at the players who haven't played. And so there have been no comments. So it's seventh heaven, really, for Spain, and all sorts of hell for Costa Rica, pardon my language. But at this particular point, there really isn't much more I can say. It's been one of those games where, quite frankly, you know, you just had to sit back and admire the way Spain played today, and Costa Rica, quite simply, weren't, you know, at the races, lambs to the slaughter, just not quite really up to it in terms of fitness. And I think for Keylor Navas, this will be a chastening night, although maybe he will have had even worse. Does Luis Suarez keep confidence in him? Will be hard to say. It really is tough to look beyond Spain when it comes to topping Group E, but, you know, there's still game week 1, and Brazil and Portugal will be playing tomorrow. The star-studded Brazil will be starting up against Serbia, who will be the underdogs. And that game, of course, will be the 4th game of tomorrow. Thiago Silva against Alexander Mitrovic and company. And that will be, kickoff for that will be at 7 p.m. GMT. So for now, I don't think there's anyone else here. Nothing much else to say. As usual, thanks a lot for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe to the Coach's Corner, like this video, and click the bell button for notifications. I will hope to be back, of course, in about less than an hour from now to oversee the Belgium-Canada game, which will be very exciting indeed. And certainly Canada's return to the big stage up against the might of Belgium. But until then, thanks once again for joining me. I don't think there's really much more to say. An absolute demolition job. Costa Rica in absolute tatters. Spain in 7th heaven, as I've said. And for now, it's bye-bye. Keep safe. I will see you again soon. But until then, I'm out.